What is going on, Mr. Frost? And we're back again with another Elestrals Divine Champions reveal reaction here. We got 8 new cards coming, so that's a pretty hefty bit right here. Now, I made the video. Let's get into this.
Elestrals Firestorm introduces a brand new Divine, Hermes, the god of travelers and thieves, and it is time to showcase a handful of brand new cards in Hermes' arsenal that is going to take things to another level. Let's dive in. I hope you guys have been enjoying our Firestorm reveals. Super duper hype.
Hit or miss. They've been very hit or miss.
Hang out with everybody at Dallas at the 2025 Dallas Open event coming up this weekend. So stay tuned for all the amazing coverage there. If you have not pre-ordered Firestorm yet, you can do so now at shopelestrals.com or head to your local game store and tell them you want to carry Elestrals and get your pre-orders in to get the incredible Stellar Emphyrix Champion of Hestia exclusively through your LGS. Of course, if you pre-order from us online, you'll get the Stellar Exaltair Champion of Hermes, which is very relevant for today in our reveals today. Without further ado, let's just take a look at some brand new Champion of Hermes cards. Oh, and if you missed yesterday's reveals, we introduced a ton of epic new Elestrals that have never been seen before, including some of my personal favorites. But up first, we've got a brand new Spy Nymph Champion of Hermes in this.
I don't know, I like base set Spy Nymph just because of the fact that your opponent has to either burn a removal card to get rid of it, or have a card of theirs get knocked down to 0 attack. Which it's pretty funny because I did end up getting rid of a Bolt Tempest because of that with a Sluggle. Classic moments. When you normal cast this Spy Nymph, you can search your deck for Hermes and add it to your hand. You can disenchant Wind from the Spy Nymph in order to special assign the Spino Sex from your hand or deck. No.
Spy Nymph actually hits the field with a very, very cool effect. 2 attack and 4 defense, and very unique that we've actually introduced some Earth champions for Hermes, which I love.
It is very weird to see a Spy Nymph becoming a champion of Hermes and not a champion of the new Earth Divine, whenever that's going to be.
Normal cast this Spy Nymph, you can search your deck for Hermes and add it to your hand. You can disenchant a Wind Spirit from this Spy Nymph in order to special ascend it to Spinosect from your hand or deck. So this Spy Nymph is going to do 2 things for you. It's going to be able to allow you to immediately grab your Hermes, which is very important. That searchability is super crucial to be able to enable the game plan that you want to do. But if you're able to Nexus a Wind Spirit or get a Wind Spirit on your Spy Nymph, you can actually disenchant it and go into Spy.
I do like these Elestrals that have the ability to search out specific Divines, so you're not having to go, well, I want a Divine, so I either have to play Plucky or the one of Elechick. So now you have Spy Nymph, this Spy Nymph, to be able to find Hermes. I want somebody for, I want every single Divine to be able to be specifically searched for a card, everyone specifically search from one Elestral instead of going, well, Elechick finds them all. But no, I don't want to sit there and put Thunder in my Water deck, or I don't want to put Thunder in my Earth Wind deck. I want to have an ability to be able to get Hermes without having to rely on Elechick or Plucky, which nobody's playing Plucky.
Sect from your hand or deck. So there's some really interesting implications here in a Hermes deck where you can ascend over a Wind Elestral to be able to get the spirits on this. You can use cards like Altar of Stars or Nexus opportunities to be able to get this effect to activate. Nonetheless, the main purpose for Spy Nymph here is to indeed search out your Hermes and enable some really cool strategies. From there, we're going to be introducing its Ascension. You guys already know about Spinosect from base set, which is a really cool.
Not the best looking design of a card, I'm going to say. When you, like the Spinosect, just the Spinosect itself is not a great one, but the this new one definitely 5/7. It goes from a 1/9 to a 5/7. Ew, what a buff in attack and nerf and defense. When you cast the Spinosect, you can return an Elestral to its owner's hand. When the Spinosect is sent from your field or deck to the underworld, you can Nexus up to 2 win. It says an opponent's card Elestral to their hand. Does that mean, is there going to be an Elestral that's going to come out here in a second that's going to have a benefit for me to be able to send back to my hand, or am I just sending my opponents back to their hand?
Cool effect that allows you to attack while you're in defense position. But the Spinosect Champion of Hermes hits the field with 5 attack and 7 defense, and this is an Earth and Wind Elestral that says when you cast this Spinosect, you can return an Elestral to its owner's hand. So non-targeting bounce. We've seen this on a handful of Elestrals like Heliolith in the past, but very strong here on Spinosect, especially when you're able to special ascend it out from your.
This is a Chronodile answer to anybody who has an issue with Chronodile. You get this on the field somehow while Chronodile's on the field. It's non-targeting, so you can just send that Chronodile and that big and cost, especially when most Chronodiles usually have 6 or 7 spirits on them. Being able to get this thing out there to send that Chronodile back to your opponent's hand and cost them 5, 6, 7 spirits is actually a very good counter to Chronodile.
Spy Nymph. This also has an additional effect that says when this Spinosect is sent from your field or deck to your underworld, you can Nexus up to 2 wind spirits. So that has a couple different implications. If this Spinosect is ultimately destroyed, you can move some spirits around your field. If this Spinosect is sent to the underworld from your Hermes effect, you can Nexus some spirits around the field. If it gets milled off the top of your deck, you can ultimately Nexus some wind spirits on the field. So some really interesting things that you can do with this Spinosect, but its primary purpose is to get that big bounce effect off and return Elestrals back to the hand. Very, very powerful, especially when staring down a big threat. And I just love that Spinosect here helps carry some of the mail for Hermes across the world of Elestrals. Now, with that, we've got a brand new X out of 99 serialized Stellar, and that is Stellar Spine-Nymph, Champion of Hermes.
Okay,
I love this card artwork
happy.
so much, man. He's got his little helmet on. He's just looking up. I don't think Spine-Nymphs ever look better than he does in this artwork. And again, an essential piece for the Hermes deck to search out your Hermes and get those effects activated. Very, very awesome stuff.
Is that a sword hilt under it or something? What is that?
Here, but I'll tell you what. I've been holding out on you guys for a little while here with Hermes package. You've seen some really cool cards like Exaltair. You've seen the Carry On and Carry
It's been 19 days, Dan. You better be spilling the beans, man.
off, and the wheels have been spinning there. You've seen the Spine-Nymph and now the Spinosect on how you can search out your Hermes and activate its effect. But these 3 next cards are going to be really what propels Hermes' strategy to be a viable strategy in the competitive metagame. Very, very strong cards about to be revealed. So let's take a look at Cockatoodle, Champion of Hermes.
Oh, it's got the nice little thing with the wings behind. That's adorable. When this Cockatoodle is sent from your field to your deck, from your field or your deck to the underworld, you can suppress a card on the field the next turn. Interesting. Obviously, this is any self-mill deck like the Blistrix or any other type of, which is not really much milling in Wind right now, unless it's a mill card. But okay, yeah.
I'll tell you what, Cockatoodle was an Elestral that I was kind of so-so on when it released in Frostfall, but I love it now. I love it so much as a Champion of Hermes. He's got his little goggles on.
Cockatoodle also, I believe, was the first created card when Kickstarter. The first Kickstarter had, there was like 1 or 2 cards that were going to be made by the person who bought that package, and they made Cockatoodle and its Ascension.
He looks so good. He comes out of the field with a 4 attack and 1 defense as a 1-cost Wind Elestral that says, when this Cockatoodle is sent from your field or deck to the underworld, you can suppress a card on the field until the next turn. So you have some flexibility here if this gets sent from your Hermes, or if it gets sent from the mill on top of your deck, or it just gets destroyed on the field. You can ultimately suppress an opponent's card, which can be very, very useful in terms of shutting off different effects. And it's going to also play into this next card I'm going to reveal, which is really the game changer for Hermes decks, in my opinion. And that is going to be none other than Dracodoodle, Champion of Hermes.
I like that pose. The little salute pose. I love that. When a Cockadoodle is sent to your underworld, you can special cast this Dracodoodle from your underworld with 2 wind. You may only play 1 Dracodoodle this way each turn. Very smart. This Dracodoodle gets +2 for each suppressed card on the field. I definitely see like the fact that they put that to where you can only do this once per turn.
Gotta stick with me on this one. Dracodoodle has a very powerful effect that says when a Cockatoodle is sent to your underworld, you can special cast this Dracodoodle from your underworld with 2 wins. You may only play 1 Dracodoodle this way each turn. This Dracodoodle gets +2 attack for each suppressed card on the field. What this ultimately means is Dracodoodle can hit the field with 6 attack and 2 defense.
Could you imagine if someone absolutely had dense fog on the field when you pull this off? When you pull this off, because that would be very interesting.
Anytime your Cockatoodle is sent to the underworld. So what that play pattern typically looks like is you establish your Hermes and you immediately look to get your Dracodoodle to the underworld as soon as possible. From that point forward, you can then on the next turn send a Cockatoodle to the underworld to get Dracodoodle out, or ideally you're drawing into your Cockatoodle so you can put on immediate pressure on your opponent's side of the field, start suppressing things, and allow Dracodoodle to hit the field with massive amounts of power and attack buffs for all the suppressed cards on the field. Very, very cool stuff. And the thing that you may recognize is this Dracodoodle can hit the field multiple times in a game. If you establish that Dracodoodle go into the underworld on turn 1, you cast out your Spine-Nymph, you get your Hermes, you send your Dracodoodle, thin your deck. At that point, anytime you find any Cockatoodle, whether it's the Champion of Hermes or the Frostfall Cockatoodle, and they get sent
So you have six. If you have which I don't think anyone's gonna carry six, but if you had six cockadoodles in your deck, and were able to find them into the underworld once per turn, obviously, you could do it up to 6 times in one turn in one game. Wow.
Into the underworld, you get to throw Dracodoodle out as well. I'm sure you're going to
Very
think of some really cool
though.
stuff with this, but this card is very powerful and it enables Hermes decks in a very unique way. Super stoked about this one.
I like the effects aside. I just love this card art. I'm gonna say again, just a little. Yes, sir. Like ready to go, sir. Like just love it. That's
You
so
guys
good.
are gonna love this combination with Cockadoodle and Dracodoodle and all the cool things that Hermes can do by sending cards to the underworld. And I gotta be real, this is one of my top chase cards in the set. I love it so much. Stellar Cockadoodle, a reverse Stellar.
Woo! Cockadoodle hasn't had a Stellar before, so this is a new one, and I love the blue glasses. Like the blue, like I think it's got a little bit here. With this going on, my goodness, I love it. I love it. I love
In
it.
the
I love
set.
it.
This thing is so gorgeous, man. What an epic
The gold,
Stellar, man. I'm so
these things
excited for this
gold.
one. Stellar Cockadoodle comes to the field. You guys already know its effect, but I love it. With the black Stellar palette, with the blue glasses, man. Ah, chef's kiss. This is going to be a top chase card for me, no doubt about it. And again, I can't emphasize enough how fun this Dracodoodle deck is, because it's really, really fun, and it's something that enables the Hermes deck to do some really cool things by pumping out a very powerful Dracodoodle almost every single turn if you can get your Cockadoodles firing. Very, very awesome stuff. But I've got one additional secret for you guys. I'm not even done, because there is a particular card that is one of the most fun cards to play in Elestrals, and that is none other than Hermes Trickery. Hermes Trickery.
With this Hermes Trickery, you can only be played if Hermes is enchanted. Destroy an Elestral on your field. Ah, there you go. If you do, special cast another Elestral from your underworld using only spirits that were enchanting the destroyed Elestral. Interesting.
Is Hermes' signature counter rune, and this card has some wild implications. It is a 1-cost counter rune that says this Hermes Trickery can only be played if Hermes is enchanted. So that's a bit of a restriction, but the effect is incredibly strong. Destroy an Elestral on your field. If you do, special cast another Elestral from your underworld using only the spirits that were enchanting the destroyed Elestral.
So if you have a 1-cost on your field with 1 spirit, it gets destroyed. You can only bring a 1-cost back from the underworld, because that's how that works. If you have a 1-cost that you had Nexus on 3 spirits, you can then cast like any 2-cost or 3-cost in 1-cost as well. So very interesting.
I mentioned that this has some really interesting implications, and I'll explain why. Let's take a scenario where your opponent ultimately
Oh my god, if you paired this in a Pantera deck and they destroyed your Pantera for whatever reason, you somehow be able to get 3 spirits under a 1-cost or a 2-cost to be able to get that Pantera back on the field. Oh my goodness.
targets your Elestral with an Earthquake. You can Trickery that Elestral and destroy it and get something else out in response, and you have cleared their Earthquake. Let's say your opponent goes to Gorgon's Gaze your Elestral. Well, you could just Trickery, destroy it, and then get something else onto the field. There's some really cool things you can do with her.
And obviously, because it is it's a secondary, it's a special cast or it's another cast or like whatever, you can then but obviously that means also like if you then attack and they Shield of Achilles you go Trickery, destroy your Elestral, bring something else out, you burn their Shield of Achilles, then you get to go in as well. Very nice. Very nice.
Hermes Trickery in terms of getting Pigus onto the field, or in terms of getting your Exaltair champion of Hermes onto the field from your underworld to preserve it. You can get your Cockatoodles back and ultimately put more pressure on your opponent, threatening Dracodoodle. You can get your Dracodoodle back, or you could rather send your Cockatoodle to the underworld with this effect and get your Dracodoodle and another card out into the field. You can do some really cool stuff with it. If you can get a 2-Spirit Elestral to the field, even if they're a 1-cost, you could send them to the underworld and get out your Carry-Off or whatever it may be. There's a lot of cool things you can do with Hermes Trickery. This card is very, very nuts.
Yeah, this one I can see like having a lot of like people who play Wind having a lot of fun with this. But you gotta have Hermes on the field, obviously. But it's very good to have that restriction, because if you didn't have that restriction, you could just play it at any time. I think it'd be just a little bit broken. So having the restriction that you have to have Hermes on the field is a very good call by the team.
And at the right time, can completely flip a game upside down and really devastate an opponent. Very, very cool stuff. Again, one of the most fun cards, in my opinion, in Firestorm. You guys are in for a treat. with Hermes Trickery. And last but certainly not least, we've got a brand new alt art, full art for you guys. I love that carry-off champion of Hermes box topper, but my man Wrecking Art came through with an amazing alt art carry-off here. One of the things I love about this carry-off as we showcase it is the stained glass windows behind it, which is super cool. Very reminiscent of my office here. But this carry-off is flying around in this incredible setting with the Floor Mine Spirits trying to get away. The stained glass Emphyrix behind it. What a gorgeous artwork, man. Just so sick to see carry-off in this kind of a setting. And overall, just well done by Wrecking Art. This is going to be an amazing chase card for you guys to look for in Firestorm. Well, now you've seen what Hermes can really do.
Well, we still have 5 new Elestrals coming. We don't know what they are. Some people do. We do not. We still got 6 days left of this to go. And we could literally just have 1 new Elestral every day for the next 5 days. And then in the last day, I really don't know what he's going to do. But that is, I think that's pretty much going to be everything for Hermes this time around. Who knows? But yeah, I have some pretty good reveals here. The Hermes Trickery for sure. If you definitely want to have a deck with Hermes in it, and you want to use some stuff from base set, or you want to use the champions, that Trickery could be, that's going to be a very powerful card if you just so happen to have Hermes on the field. Because you can burn a Gorgon's Gaze, you can burn a Shield of Achilles, you can burn Earthquake, you can burn Resting on Your Laurels, you can burn, it's basically a counter to removal ruins. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure you could do it to Tsunami as well. Like, they Tsunami, you let Trickery, gone, boom, got yourself somebody in attack position, and then you can attack anyway. Gonna be very interesting to see how that one gets played, because that's a good one. That's a very good card right there.
In Firestorm, and of course all of these divines will get more support in the future to enhance their strategies, but I think Hermes is off to a really good start here in Firestorm when you consider what Cockadoodle and Dracodoodle can do. Hermes Trickery and the really cool implications there is Exaltair alongside his carry on, carry off, and all the potential for insane.
Yeah, like Hermes has got himself a pretty good package here for sure. The Trickeries can really, I could see that frustrating a lot of people if you're somebody who plays Wind and you want to play the Hermes deck, and you could just be like, oh, well, you played that, let me Trickery, let me get, like, destroyed, get a new one back, and go from there. Yeah, so much to think about that, and so many strategies. I'm sure a lot of people who are actually really good at playing this game are going to be able to just frustrate their opponents and catch people off guard at different times. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 20. Till then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.